My previous video was an introduction to the series in which we introduced the importance of problems in character development. Today, we elaborate on the features of childhood, the first psychic phase of life. The more conscious we are, the further able are we to process of the world, which results in an overwhelming amount of problems, hence psychic conflicts. Early childhood is a carefree yet most unconscious phase of life. The baby cannot handle his emotions, one moment laughing, the next is crying. An uncontrollable self because he has little to no consciousness yet, much like a temporary psychopathy this phase is. The child functions primarily through senses and unconditional urges, a primitive state. In early stages of childhood we are unconscious of our inner as well as outer world and still operate through pure instinct. So what are the first signs of consciousness? Usually it's when the child has developed recognition, when he's able to discern patterns and names. To fully understand, we must first define recognition. The developed ability to capture an experience or any kind of stimulus, be able to hold it in memory and recognize it, know what it is whenever confronted with it again. We speak of knowing something when we succeed in linking a new perception to an already established context in such a way that we hold in consciousness not only the new perception but this context as well. In this sense, the first step of the process of becoming conscious is about acquiring the mental capacity to make simple connections between several conscious contents. However, early childhood is characterized by a sporadic consciousness. The connections do not last for long. Example is when you tell a baby to repeat something, like giving a hug. He's able to do so a couple times at that moment in time, but the next day he needs to be taught the action again. It's as though he still doesn't have enough memory storage to recall. It is a fact that in early years of life there is no continuous memory. At the most, there are islands of consciousness which are like single lamps or lighted objects in the far-flung darkness. Still speaking of early infancy here, the child not only has limited memory or consciousness of things, something more fascinating is he doesn't even feel like he actually exists. Obviously, to us, he does exist, but you'll often see him refer to himself objectively in the third person, which is silly. Reason is ego, or the I, so to speak, also as an island of memory, an object in consciousness is still undeveloped and which strengthens over time. But until then the child seems to lack an actual sense of self, of tangibleness. Nevertheless, some children do not exhibit this behavior and directly skip to speak of themselves in the first person. Either way, the moment he begins to speak in the first person is often a reliable indicator that the continuity of consciousness has begun, a continuity in ego memories, i.e., the ability to identify a self in oneself. So today we looked at some notable psychic features of childhood. Overall, what you need to remember, childhood is often problem-free, for the child has everything on his parent's shoulder. In this phase, we said that the mind is under construction, acclimating itself still to the real world. From the minute he's born, the body and mind of the child are trying to develop into a more robust structure to cope with what is to come. Our very body structure is genetically designed and directed to the purpose of growth, promoting more life instead of decay. A pleasant speculation here, if there was no external world, there would be no consciousness. The purpose behind the rise of consciousness is to help us cope with this world. So there are no problems without consciousness, and by problems I mean reality, for reality as a whole is the biggest riddle there is to solve. The world is dependent on us and we are dependent on the world to provide us problems in order to grow. And even though the child seemed to be carefree, on an internal level, countless conflicts and changes are happening inside his body, preparing him. So, the fight starts internally. What is to come, you'll find out in my next video. Don't forget to stay updated guys, subscribe and hit that bell button so you don't miss anything. And you could support this series with a simple like, share or comment if you really enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.